Something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run around. Okay.
It was cool. Yesterday I was working on all of the Apple podcast stuff.
Yeah, we're officially on Apple Podcast.
Yeah, we're officially on Apple Podcast. And so then it was on my phone. So then I got in the car this morning and I put my phone in and it automatically started playing what I was playing, which was the Apple Podcast. And it was us. I was like, oh, I'm famous.
How many views?
Don't ask. This is a small.
I was slow start. It's been a hobby.
I was okay. So I was poking a little bit of fun. I was poking a little bit of fun at the Catherine Davis' daughter and Annie Thor's daughter started their own podcast, and it's definitely different than ours.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 white chicks versus 2 white bros,
and like some of the
so
top
maybe
level games.
The rest of the world's like, no, bro, it ain't that different. But anyway, I was kind of I was poking some fun at it, which, look, and I'm humble enough to admit that ours can be there's more to say, more funny things to say about ours than theirs. And I got into a conversation with Pyam.
Oh.
And I said, well, I shouldn't be poking fun, given that we've only got like 26 viewers.
I saw like 56 or maybe coming out 100 on some of them.
And I'm going to believe Savan and Matt Suzu say, you got to just keep doing it. Yeah. And now that we're on Apple Podcasts, we hope to improve our distribution.
Yeah.
And then we'll name drop and we'll poke fun at some people, some bigger name people. And that hopefully will then draw them in to watch us.
At some point, we might even have somebody on.
We'll be provocative enough that they come. People actually, it's a sneaky way to get viewers.
It's a progression.
Nah. Look, we're doing this because we want to get the word out to the affiliate community, kind of share what we do here, because there's a lot of people that charge money for it and shouldn't be charging money for it. And then we want to provide information, another outlet to our community, our Diablo community, and the PRsAllDay clients as to kind of how we do things, because people don't like reading emails. And this is a little bit of a steal from the email that we put out every week. So it gives us a chance to talk about, all the stuff that we're thinking about so that people can get an idea of what they should be doing with their communities. But anyway, hopefully we get a few more viewers.
We got one
with our Apple Podcast.
What's up, Travis?
Okay, right on, Travis.
Morning. Red shirt day.
Shit, we don't plan that, damn it.
No, it was not planned.
Yeah. Anyway, so the first thing, though, I wanted to talk about is a bit of a provocative topic. And it's something I put in my email, and it's something I'm passionate about. And it's CrossFit cures chronic disease. And in the headliner for this, we're actually going to say CrossFit cures cancer, which is really provocative. And it's not to say that CrossFit cures all cancers, but it has the capacity to inhibit the growth of cancer, as evidenced by new research. But how this came about for me is I've seen an overwhelming amount of data in the various different news feeds that I follow and social media people that I follow related to the incredible benefits, health benefits, meaningful health benefits of exercise, and specific types of exercise too. Building bone density with weightlifting, improving memory through general fitness. And then Rhonda Patrick, PhD, who can be found at Found My Fitness. And she's an excellent one to follow, and then even subscribe to her podcast as well. And she's a PhD she's UC Berkeley too, I think.
She's Berkeley, yeah.
She's Berkeley also. And hers was related to, because she does a ton of research and data diving. She backs everything up, she says, with the data and the research reports, which is great. Even in her Instagram posts, when she posts stuff, she puts the reports and detail behind the clinical trials and those types of things. But her latest one was related to high intensity interval training and its effect on cancer cells. And a study that she quoted, if you go to her Instagram, you can find the study. I think of what I'll do is I'll end up putting it in the notes, the link to the study in our notes. And I've suspected this, but it is pretty damn fascinating. that, and it makes sense that high intensity interval training, because of the demand for glucose, the demand for glucose from muscles, extreme demand for glucose in muscles, or the glucose uptake by muscles in high intensity interval training, it ends up, what they found and discovered is that it ends up shutting down other sources that might be drawing in glucose as energy. In this case, cancer cells.
Cancer cells, yeah.
So literally, high intensity interval training, and it lasts not just during training; it extends beyond. It literally shuts down the fuel source for cancer, and inhibits cancer cell growth. That's fascinating as hell. And we know, by and large, and everybody that gets our email, or people that are listening to this podcast, know that the benefits, the immediate benefits of exercise. And Greg Glassman said it probably, I don't know, I want to say like 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, that, CrossFit cures chronic disease.
With the 5 buckets.
Yeah. And when he talks about the 5 buckets,
of death. Yeah.
But he really was more focused on metabolic diseases, chronic diseases or metabolic diseases, those that are caused by lifestyle.
Yeah. By choice.
And what's interesting, and there really are very few, if any at all, cures for chronic disease. These things, the number of chronic disease is the number one killer in this country. 1.7 million people. I looked up the stat. I knew it was a lot, but we had, in 2 years, just about 1 million deaths that were associated with COVID, but a great deal of those probably wouldn't have happened.
Comorbidities from
right. Well, comorbidities, right? A significant number of comorbidities, but there were really chronic disease.
Yeah.
But 1.7 million people a year die from chronic disease, which includes heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, and stroke, other related diseases. It's the number one killer in this country. And pharmaceutical companies treat it by treating the symptoms.
Yep. Band-Aids.
Yeah, Band-Aids. Let's lower your HDL. Let's lower your cholesterol levels. Yep. Let's lower your blood pressure. Let's lower your AC1, your AC1 for diabetes. Right. All of those things are drugs that just essentially mask,
or cholesterol was the other one.
Some of the symptoms of chronic disease, and then the actual cause of chronic disease, which is basically a sedentary lifestyle with excessive amount of calorie intake. Those are not dealt with. And it's unfortunate, but anyway, so Greg Glassman has said, look, the only way to do this is through exercise and nutrition. In this case, CrossFit, because CrossFit advocates 100 words of fitness, right?
Encompasses all of that,
right? Work out and eat healthy, and so we, in a sense, and there's a number of cases here in this gym where we have helped cure chronic disease. Like one gentleman, I won't say his name just to protect his identity, but he went off his high blood pressure medication. He went off his antidepressants that he'd taken for like 30 years.
Wow.
And that's another one of the articles that I touched on because there were more recent studies talking about how exercise literally regular exercise is literally as good or better than antidepressants. Yeah. If you're taking antidepressants, it enhances the benefits of antidepressants. So, these are clinical trials, and so this data has been, I feel like it's been pouring out through the interwebs lately,
especially lately. I mean, right? We said like a lot of these chronic illnesses are, like that 5th bucket of death, right?
Yeah.
Is self-inflicted.
Yeah.
But the problem is a lot of people don't really know what to do because there's so much input from other companies, other industries that are saying, do this, do that, take this pill, or eat this food, or don't eat that food because it's going to cause heart disease, or it's saturated fat's bad for you. So there's so much misunderstanding in what is health, like how our bodies are supposed to work.
That part actually really gets me inflamed as well.
Yeah, that's a huge trigger for me.
It's the creating confusion in nutrition in order to further an agenda.
Yep.
creating a confusion around exercise in order to further an agenda, right? One certain type of exercise is better than a certain type of exercise. CrossFit doesn't say that.
Nope. CrossFit, all CrossFit did was define fitness.
That's right.
Right. And when you read that, what is fitness?
Right. And
then
nails
it all down.
Their proclamation is CrossFit cures chronic disease. That doesn't mean other forms of exercise don't cure chronic disease.
That's a good point. Yeah.
We just know that the awesome combination of weightlifting, gymnastics, and body weight movements, and
eating real food,
endurance, and eating real food does work. Yeah. And it is so. What's going to happen? I think the prognosis for the healthcare industry is not good.
Yeah.
I don't see immediate change. I see small changes, maybe coming down the pipeline. But in the number of podcasts I've listened to with respect to the healthcare industry, it is really dominated by the health insurance companies who control the entire process, from what doctors are telling you, what doctors are prescribing, what pharmacies, what drugs they have in the pharmacy, the supply of those drugs. That's going to take a long time to change.
Well, I mean, looking at the guidelines, like the nutritional guidelines that our government puts out,
it
comes out every 5 years.
That's where I think it should start.
Well, that's where it should start. But even just this most recent one that we're in from 2020 to 2025 is still bogus.
Yeah.
Like it's really frustrating. And there's a ton of conflict of interest throughout the whole thing.
Well, that's right. And that's exactly right. It's heavily influenced by industry that lobby the politicians to further their agendas, their personal agendas. So what can be done? And what I put in my email, and what I think it's what I do, is like you act as a role model. We are the role models for our community, and our community then becomes the role models for their family and friends. That's the best thing that we can do. So literally, I can only affect one person at a time. And what's the beautiful thing about a CrossFit affiliate is, this morning at 6 a.m. I had 20 people in class.
Yeah,
I can have some influence over those 20 people. During the warm up, I preach to them a little bit. When I talk about the workout, I talk about the impact and the benefits for the human body. Our community gets it. We provide them access to all of the links that talk about the benefits of exercise and proper nutrition. We create challenges. We do all kinds of cool things. CrossFit has now, you mentioned this to me, the L1,
the MDL1,
the MDL1.
So they had the MDL1. I just saw that they just did their first healthcare practitioner L1, which is, I think that's a really good way. Starting with the medical doctor field, like that's a good start. But I think also touching on all these other healthcare practitioners that have more input, more touches on people.
Right.
It's moving in the right direction.
You follow at CrossFit Health too, that you'll see that, they talk about that a lot, but there are free level ones for MDs. They have to apply. There's a waiting list to get on that, which
are they still doing the MDL ones?
Yeah, they are still doing the MDL ones. And then they're doing healthcare practitioners as well. So that's cool. And then CrossFit they used to have, Greg Glassman started the Derelict Doctors
the
program, DDC, which was essentially bringing in these outside experts that were somewhat against the grain of traditional medicine, but that talked about things like the explosion of sugar in the American diet, the importance of healthy nutrition for curing chronic disease, especially related to diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. And a number of experts that, people that I follow would go in. Robert Lustig, we talked about him, and a long list of others. But I think that might be something that would be fun for us to do.
That was like my first real exposure to like a professional poking holes in what mainstream medicine is, I guess you could say. And I think if there was a way to bring that back, I think that would be one thing that would kind of continue to help push that needle. Because that content is still out there. I remember referring some of the old videos that were there when we went to visit that DDC.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a lot of valuable information that
I think it
doesn't get out there otherwise.
Right. So, I encourage our community to be healthy, to live a healthy lifestyle, to eat healthy, And sometime with CrossFit events or events that you have at your own affiliate, you guys, alcohol and calorie dense foods become part of those celebrations. And I would say, be thoughtful about that.
Yeah.
Like, walk the walk and talk the talk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've been working on that for, 16 years at Diablo. It used to be not as important. It's much more important now, primarily because as my wife and I age, but also, we're recognizing what's happening, especially after the pandemic, how deadly COVID was to those with chronic disease.
It was very clear. And
especially people with obesity. And so the only way around that is through exercise and healthy nutrition. And it's important for us, the lifeboats that Greg Glassman talked about, in a sea of chronic disease, calorie dense foods and calorie dense drinks. We're that lifeboat. And so we need to walk the walk and talk the talk, and tell our community, encourage our community to share their results, their strength results, their workout results, their health marker improvements with their community, their family and friends. And that's how spread the word. And then we as affiliate owners need to do the same and put forth challenges and those types of things to help keep our community healthy and help spread the word so we can fight chronic disease. 1.7 million people in this country. I can't imagine worldwide. The number's probably like three or four times that, right? Anyway, enough of the rant. CrossFit cures chronic disease.
Yeah.
And amazingly helps starve cancer as well. That's just an awesome.
It's a huge tool. It's a huge tool that's out there.
Piece of data.
And more people should use it.
Yep. CrossFit's related to what CrossFit's doing, by the way.
Yeah.
They're doing the Spartan race this weekend in San Francisco Bay Area, and they're probably going to do more of these things.
I'm sure this is like their guinea pig as they're trying to figure it out.
Hopefully they'll execute a little better on the next one. The only issue is that it was last minute notice. So
it was like 2-3 weeks notice ahead of time.
Yeah. I mean, it was, so it was kind of look, I'm totally grateful and glad that they were able to pull it off. You filled out a Google form. We gave a Google form to our community that CrossFit gave us. And then now they're waiting for their heat times.
Yeah.
So if you're waiting for your heat time or you're participating, you're another affiliate, you're participating, relax. I talked to Katie Hogan via email.
She's the NorCal or Bay Area.
She's the West Coast regional manager.
Okay.
And Katie said that another email will be going out today from her with an update, but that your heat times will be distributed. Like people will get heat times by Friday. I know the race is Saturday, but it looks like what people at Diablo are telling us is the heat times are going to be later in the afternoon.
Yeah. There was like a wave of them that did get that promo code and signed up, and they were like at 4 p.m. I think.
Yeah, at 4 p.m. So it's going to they're giving CrossFit the last heats of the day.
Oh yeah. I mean, like you said, this is kind of like a trial run.
Yeah,
it's the first time they're doing it.
It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, and I think Dave Castro was able to
have some input.
Yeah, into obstacles, and I think the word is that he got ring muscle ups put in.
Nice, which
is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it should be fun.
A lot of people can climb a rope, but
I think
how many people can do a muscle up?
Diablo will probably have 25, 30 people there, which is cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Speaking of events and affiliate events, if you don't do a holiday party, do a holiday party. And if you don't do it pre-holiday, we did it for a number of years. We did it post-holiday. We did it after the first year.
Post-holiday.
And those were great.
That was a lot of fun.
People appreciate it because it's, you have all the normal parties that you got to go to, family, friends, and the schedule stuff.
It's such a busy time of the year too.
And you wait 1 week after the first and you do your party, and we had good turnout. It was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's an easy event for an affiliate owner to do.
Are we throwing a theme on it this year?
Oh, we didn't put a theme. No theme this year. But we have done themes in the past, and themes are fun too.
Themes are fun. We did what was that? The
ski party.
The ski party.
Yeah.
It was like an 80s theme
80s,
ski party.
80s
ski lodge. Ski lodge.
That was very good. No theme, but we are going to get barbecue, and ours is because of all of the places we're booked up. Mm-hmm. We ended up with a date, December 23rd. So
okay. Oh, so that's really close.
But it is up on the Diablo app. You can sign up. So get signed up. We want a lot of people that they are a lot of fun. There'll be music there and a DJ and lots of barbecue, healthy food, real food there.
So it's gonna be that whole top floor up top.
Whole top floor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, that'll be fun. And I would encourage other affiliates do the same. And I do two things during the holidays, by the way, so I should put it out there. We take our staff, all of our coaches and people that work in the front desk and their spouses out to dinner during the holidays as well. We do that a couple weeks before the holiday party. And it's a nice time for us to be away from our members and kind of, share stories.
It's also a really good time too, because it's not often that you see all of the coaches in the same time zone, right? Because you've got people that open, people that close, and there's not a lot of crossover.
Oh yeah,
so it's a really cool time to get together
and you never get to meet their partners.
Exactly, so significant others coming out.
No, it's something we've done. I don't know, probably the last 10 years. I don't know, 8 to 10 years.
I think you've been doing at least.
And it's great fun. We have a good time. It's very relaxing and cool thing. It's nice to shoot the shit and have fun and be with our families. So think about that for your staff. They'll appreciate it. December progression. So we got to December. Today we opened up. This is kind of December-ish. We're finishing.
We're starting early with the December.
Okay, so
continuing on.
So deadlifts.
Yeah. So
primary strength. And so this is the third month.
This is the third and final month of this training phase.
Okay.
Yes. And so a couple things. This month we are deadlifting as our primary, and we're going to build up to a 1 rep max. And just keep in mind, if you've been following along, we've had our deadlifts last month. We worked on some RDLs, so we've been really trying to prioritize that hip hinge. And that's why I asked you this morning, like how are everybody moving? The deadlift's looking good, because sometimes that's one of those areas where you want to be cautious over somebody that's maybe not super proficient on the hinge. But we've gotten a lot of practice, and the consistency is carried over to where now we are available to really go heavy. So we're dropping a ton of the volume down and just working on heavier percentages. And then as our secondary strength, we're going into overhead squats as another intense level of squatting. Right?
So let me just ask you on the overhead squats as a secondary. I like that. I'm comfortable with overhead squats. Though it is more taxing on my shoulders than it used to be when I was younger. But what about people that don't have that mobility for overhead squats and people that don't have the mobility and are older members who literally just have extreme difficulties with the overhead squats?
So, as far as the overhead squat, I think, and the way I coach it is, if somebody is really missing that range of motion, then there's really no advantage or benefit to forcing them into an overhead squat. So if you have somebody that's maybe doing a quarter squat with a bar supported overhead in a good position, then you can maybe progressively work them to a box and then progressively work down. But keep in mind, range of motion should be a priority over intensity. So as far as loading goes, you're going to maybe just work with an empty bar and just progressively work lower. There's a ton of flexibility benefits, because you're taking your center of mass and extending it out overhead. So it forces you to stabilize more of your thoracic spine. Your shoulders are more involved. So it's a fuller squat, I guess you could say.
Right.
When you have somebody that doesn't have that range of motion overhead, that's when it's like, okay, maybe we just modify the squat altogether. Let's do a high bar back squat. So we're working on more of a vertical upright torso, or even taking it to a front squat. But I would highly encourage everybody just to continue to fight through this and maintain proper mechanics without letting your ego get ahead to go heavier.
It's a movement. That was another one, Greg. People ask him about it. He says, right, that's the one single movement where you can make a instant assessment.
It is, and
of an individual's ability to move.
Yeah, and when I was going through NSA, what is it? NASM, NASM certified. That was our test, right? You do an overhead squat to kind of establish, where are the imbalances? Where should we be targeting, corrective exercises, to improve on those positions to make a better function. But with this being our secondary strength, this is a chance to kind of get some exposure to it on a consistent level as we head into the next training phase, which is essentially open prep. We might be seeing some snatches, which does involve that overhead squat position. We've seen overhead squats and open workouts before. So I just want to make sure that we've had some time to really kind of hone in on that skill and have some consistency to progress through it.
Okay.
Right. And then along with the secondary, we've got our skill. Now the skill is kind of picking up from our last month. We had our inverted positions. We're working on like a progression from piked handstand positions all the way up into freestanding handstand holds,
Right.
which has been really cool to watch people actually, commit and practice that freestanding handstand.
Yeah.
This month we're going to be doing a little bit different. We're going to be going to actual handstand push-up, but we're also supersetting it with a rope climb. Now, the reason for this is it's a superset push-pull. At the beginning of each session, we're going to start off with a handstand kipping practice and a rope climb practice, alternating weeks depending on the week. But the reason for it is we have two different types of adaptation, right? We've got a physiological adaptation. We've got a neurological adaptation. When we just practice something like a handstand push-up, that's a really neurological adaptation. We're practicing that inverted balance with a kip. Now we're including some accuracy components, so timing. So to be able to successfully do that movement pattern efficiently and safely, you got to have that neurological adaptation as part of it. So we're starting off the beginning of the session with that skill component, but then we're going to go ahead and transition over to a physiological adaptation, which is like, you're just strength building, you're endurance building, right? Now we're going to be working more of a strict handstand pushup and a strict rope climb variation. A rope climb variation is going to be between, just a rope lay down, like a really stiff body rope lay down, or a legless rope climb, or even a L-sit climb.
Okay.
So the idea of this sequence is to kind of build up our ability to do these movement patterns correctly, but then using the EMOM format afterwards with a strict component to build more strength. So then when we apply that skill component to the raw strength component, we can become way more efficient overall.
Right. There's definitely room for improvement on both of those. And what's nice is the timing prior to the open.
Yeah.
And quarterfinals. So you won't see rope climbs.
We won't see rope climbs,
in
which
the
is
open, but we will see rope climbs in the quarterfinals.
We will see rope climbs in quarterfinals, and we could see handstand pushups in the open.
Yeah.
But with what's been going on, I think I talked a little bit about this last week. When you look at the trajectory and what we've done in the past with, games doing something, and then you see it at the regional level, then you see it at the open level, it trickles down. Right. And with that freestanding handstand, or not the freestanding, it was the wall facing deficit handstand pushup. In our progression, that is our second, or that's the top progression, is to do a wall facing handstand pushup, which is a strict pattern. Now, that's something that I would highly recommend that athletes that have the ability to do it. There's no prescribed rep scheme on this whole sequence. Our goal is to use that time and just stick with a number that's consistent, whether it's 1 rep every minute on the minute or 2, 3, whatever the case is. It's kind of open to you as an individual to work on to improve yourself.
Right. As long as the form's not crappy.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that stuff, like the wall facing handstand pushups, if you got crappy form, you're not going to get the pattern right.
You're going to get it right.
It's going to be it's kind of like a lie detector.
Yeah, it really is. Cool. And then just to end up the discussion today, we've been going about 35 minutes, it looks like.
About 28.
I wanted to talk about year-end challenges and then New Year's challenges, because these are a big part of the year, people's events within affiliates, and it's something we've done and we've done successfully. And it gets more people on board, especially if there's prizes or there's a way to measure it and make it public. It does hold people accountable. And I used to be anti-challenge, but now I enjoy challenges because of the societal challenges that we face with the amount of food and drink and parties and socialization stuff that happens. Exercise or fitness challenges or nutrition challenges during this period of time is a great way to help keep people on track. We use SugarWOD for our workout tracking, similar to Beyond the Whiteboard, similar to Wodify, all the others that are out there, a way for people to essentially track their workouts. And all we do is we put the challenge on SugarWOD, In this case, in December, we'll be doing a movement challenge. And I keep it really simple, and I put it as a daily movement challenge. And if you walk, run, or ride, or row, walk, run, ride, or row, in the morning, midday, or evening, up to 3 times a day, basically get a score. And it's really simple, just a point for each time. Although I'm going to give some weighting towards the morning. I'll let people in the morning to have a little bit greater weighting, because there is more.
There's more benefit to
There's
that,
more
right?
benefit to initiating that pre-meal.
Yeah.
So in a fasted
At
state,
a fasted state, yeah.
In terms of managing your glucose levels throughout the day, helps manage your helps keep your glucose levels at a lower level throughout the day, just by initiating with some sort of movement activity. And it doesn't have to be high intensity at all.
No.
And CrossFit workouts and CrossFit classes aren't going to count.
Mm.
So it's going to be additional activity. And ideally what I want people to do is get up early, go for a 15-minute walk.
So
in the middle of the day, take a 15-minute break from work and go for a walk.
This is going to be targeting a lot of the 100K challenge people.
Yeah,
then
this,
be all over this.
Yeah, well, they will be all over it, right? So we have a 100K 100 KMC. Go to 100kmc.com. Begins December 1st, ends December 31st for a charity, but they have to accumulate 100,000 meters in activity for the month, and this is certainly for them. It'll be easy for them.
It'd be easy for them, yeah.
Yeah, but then and I save the nutrition challenges for the beginning of the year, instead of doing those right in the holidays.
Yeah.
And the reason is, one, I want people to enjoy the holidays, and not, I want people to think about it, obviously, in trying to, essentially act with moderation with everything. But then in the beginning of the year, we're all in a mindset. I don't care what people say you shouldn't have New Year's goals with. It is, bullshit, because it is New Year's. It is the thing to do.
It's the new year, new you.
New year, new you, new challenge, new challenge. But that's a good time. Like, you may as well get on board with it.
Yeah.
But break it down, and I would say make it easy. Don't make it, if you're an affiliate and you're trying to do this for your community, keep it really simple. The simpler we've kept it, the better.
It's almost like less touches, the better.
Yeah, for us, we've always had what we call the dry caveman. It was January 1st to February 14th, no alcohol.
Last year we did you had a scored thing.
Yeah, it was scored.
Yeah,
it was drinking, sugar, and it was again through sugar WOD. Yeah, and you added points up.
Yeah.
And you get a point for all of those things that you did. It was a little complex, probably a little too complex.
Yeah. Talking about making it easy.
Yeah, making it easy for the owner, because we had to answer questions. Well, what if I did this, and what if I ate this, and but people enjoy tracking, and here's what it does: one, it reinforces behavior. Two, it teaches people how to track and monitor themselves. But this year, I haven't decided what the nutrition challenge is going to be, but it'll probably be related to alcohol, maybe sugar. But I'm going to keep it super simple and something they can just put in a sugar WOD, and get a point. And then what's cool is other people do it, and then you get people make comments, and you get recognition.
To accumulate the points at the end of the month too,
yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. We did. That's what we did too.
Yeah.
We published a report. I just gathered their data and put it out, which was fun. Then you can have a winner if you want, and give a prize for the winners. But it make them related to what they do already, tracking their workouts or CrossFit workouts. Keep it similar to that, and you'll probably get pretty significant buy-in. And if you keep it super simple, people can build off the super simple for long term.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. And we'll definitely have a alcohol challenge at the beginning of the year, and give people 30, 45 days to just see what it's like to not have alcohol, and see how significant alcohol
the dry
is in their lives.
caveman.
Yeah, dry caveman.
And I mean, like with the dry caveman thing, like in the past, I've not a big drinker, but sugar, man, that's like my alcohol, right? Yeah. It's an addictive drug in some cases.
Oh, I was talking to a member about it today. She said, she goes, I have one piece of pie. She goes, it's like it all comes back to me. Then I want another, I instantly want another piece of pie. She goes, I hadn't had pie in like 3 months.
Yeah. And the reason why I say this is, like, if you are somebody out there that's like, hey, let me, I don't really drink, so I can't really participate in this. Like, well, make sugar your alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, just cut it.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, put together an easy challenge.
Yeah.
Put it on your workout tracking system that you use, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to get the community involved, and everybody. What's cool is the community support that you get when you post your results.
Yeah, that's I mean, The community support aspect, I think, is something that a lot of people like underestimate.
It's another reason why CrossFit cures chronic disease.
There we go.
Because you come here and you've got a supportive community to keep you adhering your goal, and then you get to hang out with it. The hardest thing for people to do to break a habit or make a new habit is to find a supportive community. Even family and friends don't do that.
No, family and friends in some cases are the ones that are
undermined.
Maybe not helping the process.
Well, yeah,
at
they don't
all.
want you to change because it makes them look,
Yeah,
makes
then they might have
they
to
feel
change.
insecure. They might have to change. Yeah. So that's why the CrossFit community is like an awesome place for people to be.
Yeah.
You got friends that support you and do the same thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it takes in a sea of calorie dense foods and poor health advice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
on that note,
CrossFit cures chronic disease. All right. Thanks, man.
All right, guys.
Talk to you next week.
Until next time.